You agree with me, times have especially been tough at the recording of this video, economically especially. I'm not sure there is a time in the history of any country that we can say things are easy now, but you agree with me, at this time and season, things have especially been tough. And that's why in today's video, I thought to continue the discussion that I had started in the previous video, where I was sharing ways in which moms, stay-at-home moms especially, can make money from home, or a mom who is desirous to stay home with their children and yet they must work, that if they would find a way of making money from home, then I know this would be very helpful for them. I know I'm talking to that kind of a mama, or a mama who is already at home and they are trusting the Lord to provide and to show them a way of making some extra money from home. And I say this because I am an ardent reader of Proverbs 31, and in Proverbs 31 the scriptures record that this Proverbs 31 woman would consider a field and buy it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard, and she sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp does not go out at night. And of course, I'm not doing this so that moms can just quit immediately and come home. Unless the Lord leads you, I know it will take time. And so I thought, let me just share some more ways, like I promised in the previous video, as I inquire from other moms and just get to hear what they are doing as well. And I'm doing this video as I begin our breakfast. Of course, this channel, as you might know, is basically about biblical womanhood, hospitality, as well as budget-friendly living. And one of the ways of being budget-friendly is, if you live in the countryside like I do, being able to grow some of your food. You may not be able to do it fully, but you can to some extent. And I'm grateful that we were able to plant some maize, and now we are going to have some fresh green maize for breakfast. And I'm just starting the video off by plucking some of the maize. Of course, I've left the stalks standing so that they can be cut for our brother's cows in the neighborhood later. And then now I get to light the jiko because I find it easier to work with the jiko, especially when it is available, now that it will be cheaper really to work with that as I boil my maize. And I want to do this as I share some more ways, like I promised in the previous video, so that in case the Lord leads you or you resonate with either of the ways in the Lord as you wait on the Lord, then He can lead you to do something, as a side hustle, and eventually really as something that you can engage in fully and be able to stay at home, if that really is your desire. I know the Lord has called each one of us differently, but I'm talking to that mama who would desire to be at home with their children. So just getting to light my jiko over there, arrange my maize in our typical sufurias. As you know, in the village we work with open fire, so they are dark on the outside, but then now we get those ones that we use for the jiko, for the open fire. So getting to arrange my maize, put some salt, add water, and cover with a banana leaf to trap in the heat. The word is just escaping. And then cover it completely so that a lot of the moisture is concentrated inside, so that it can get to boil our maize even faster. So in case you're new here, my name is Clara, a stay-at-home mom, a work-from-home mom who is passionate about matters womanhood and the woman, like I have said, and of course hospitality, as well as budget-friendly living. And I trust that today's video will be a blessing. So as I continue to do that, I want to go to my first one. Like I said, I am working with things I have seen happen, even with people who are very close to me. And one of those is teaching English online. I have a very close friend, actually a daughter in the faith, that I worked with, who did her degree at the university, is in the process of finishing her master's as well. But all this time she has never gotten a job, and I know she's qualified, but as you know, things sometimes can happen, corruption, and she has not been able to get a job. I'm covering my pan with a heavy stone that I got from the river, really heavy, so that it can keep the lid on and then it can be able to trap in the heat. And so she stumbled upon this way of making money, applied online, and that is the side hustle that has kept her going. I mean, she's able to live, she's able to travel, but she works from the comfort of her home, has been able to take care of her needs for a number of years now. I'm not sure how long, but that's what she has done. In case someone is interested in that, of course, I'm sure she wouldn't mind sharing how she got to start doing this. But I have been amazed, because when she needs to do some ministry somewhere, now that she's in control of her time and the times she's needed to teach, she's able to just close down for some time and go do the mission in the Lord she needs to do, or visit, or it's been flexible for her. But of course, thankfully, she has been very keen on working hard on the same. So as the maize is boiling, my girls will usually start school early with their personal devotion, and then they come to school, and I just join them so that I'm able to do some school work and some other things that I can do on my desk. I'm getting to do that before I continue. And then after this, as I just work in the kitchen, I like to take my favorite one of my favorite drinks. I don't drink coffee every day, but I drink perhaps twice a week or so, and my daughter has a way of making this very delightful coffee that I will let her share how she does it. I really enjoy it. It is cold and very tasty, and I drink it as I walk around the kitchen, make tea and all that. So the second one that mama at home can do while taking care of her children, watching over the affairs of her household, as the scriptures tell us, is to be an admin or virtual assistant online. And like I said, I have seen this very practically. One of the people that I'm working with right now is a virtual assistant, and I'm grateful that I have not been able to afford to pay her the full amount, but she's willing to volunteer and just work with something small that I give her to facilitate her life as we trust the Lord to provide. And I have seen how this has been very helpful, so that if you have the skills of admin and virtual, you can manage social media handles for perhaps a person or a company, or I think these are some things that you can do from home. And I have also heard of another friend who was doing this some time back. So I know this is something that you can do, especially if you're techno savvy and you are really vast, with the media space and how to work on the media. Because I know many people, like personally, why I had to engage somebody to do that is I was getting behind on a lot of things that I needed to take care of, technical issues, numbers, things that are needed, and yet I couldn't. So I'm grateful she has been such a help. So we had our breakfast with our fresh, very tasty maize, and of course I left behind 2 pieces so that we could get to roast as the embers of our charcoal are just going off. And we really enjoyed this as well, just as a snack as we were hugging around the home, having a little break from school. And I was grateful for that. And of course, one of my pastimes is this, like I shared in the previous video, you can also work with a skill in order to raise something, from home. The third one is nannying. And of course, nannying is basically being able to take care of your children as well as the children of another parent, perhaps who must work, and yet they just want a safe place for their children. And because perhaps you love children and you don't mind taking care of children, together with the fact that they will be playmates for your children, you can actually take this up so that you are able to raise something small from this as you take care of the children of other parents, the ones you can manage. And of course, I trust that one can be able to check around their country and what is required for this kind of a job, so that you're able to work from home as you take care of children. And that is our sourdough bread that we baked without an oven in a bread tin. I will share this particular recipe as soon as I am able to upload it on our other recipe channel. But in case I won't have uploaded it in time, I'm going to post in the description another recipe where I bake with our very delicious go-to bread recipe, where we don't work, yes, with sourdough, but we are still able to make bread without an oven. Even with an oven or not, my oven still has an issue, so I'm grateful that I'm able to bake bread and have the characteristic bread shape. And so this is a lunch where we are making some sandwich with avocado. I think avocado is one of our favorite fruits for making sandwiches with, so I'm basically going to apply our avocado as our sandwich, and we will have our bread with a drink. You can work with lemon tea, you can work with tea, and just have your simple lunch. You can add an egg to it, but we are working with a budget, so I just thought let's just work with avocado so that our eggs will come in a different meal. So that's the third one, nannying. The fourth one is farming. I know women, especially those who live in the countryside. I even know of some who micromanage. Now that in Kenya we have our ushago. For most of us, we live in town, but we have our ushagos where we will usually have some piece of land, and you can be able to do some farming, and in the process sell the produce, and out of that you will have something that you can work with. I know of a brother who sells eggs, and he is doing extremely well with just taking raising chicken and selling eggs. I know also of a friend who told me that she micromanages, because she lives in the city, micromanages her herbs at home in the countryside, and she's able to work with herbs. And she tells me this is also would I call it a lucrative way of farming. So I hope that is something that you can think of, because farming can go in different ways. And of course, I'm saying this also with a caution, because farming can also be disappointing, because it will depend on the weather. Sometimes your birds or chicken can get infected with a disease. I mean, there's a lot of risk, but life is really about taking risks. And I think even for me, who fears taking risks a lot, I have learned lately that if you just want to make it in this life, you just have to be willing to take risks. Or else, if you want to always be safe, then sometimes it's tricky. But I would only say that just make sure that you're wise in the way you're working when it comes to farming. Do your research so that you make sure that what the Lord leads you to do will actually be profitable. And of course, all of this we know take time, so don't assume you will get profit pap. But I trust the Lord will continue to lead and to provide. This is supper, by the way, still working with our budget-friendly recipes. As you know, this channel is also about that. And I have I'm working on sauce, because I'm making homemade spaghetti. And this is a very cheap way of making spaghetti at home rather than buying. And this is one of the recipes my daughters really love. They introduced me to this, and they're the ones who mostly do it. I have a full recipe on our other channel that I will link in the description below, so that you can get to see how to make your own spaghetti at home together with the spaghetti sauce that we made. That is very simple. And that's what I was making. The only difference with that sauce that I worked with in this one is when I had done my onions, as you saw, added in tomatoes, I also added in carrots as well as courgette, so that now that I was wanted to cook really fast, I didn't want to make the vegetables separately. I also added in the courgette and into the sauce. So we had vegetable, courgette and carrots, and then our sauce that of course has onion, tomato, spices, as well as a cup of milk. And then now added in our spaghetti, and we really enjoyed this one. I can tell you will enjoy it, so try it. I know you will tell me it's really tasty. Making your own spaghetti at home. The other fifth one, that I found very interesting, because I believe it's God who just dropped this one in my mind. Request to work from home. Some of us are in jobs where, especially since COVID-19, it's cheaper even for the company. It's possible for you to be able to work from home. So there are some jobs when we can do them from anywhere. And even as you look for a job, perhaps this is a kind of job you might want to look for. And it might also be a job you're already doing, but if you request, you can be allowed. I don't know why God put this idea in my mind. I trust it might be for somebody who's watching today's video, that you'll go to ask and you will be granted the permission to do so. And of course, finally, let me just share what I got from the comments. One of us shared that she sells gold and silver online. She also trades in foreign exchange currencies, especially in the US 30 index. And of course, I may not know a lot about that, but I believe when you do a lot of research, you're going to find a way of doing that. She says it takes time. Like we have been saying on this channel, these things take time. But I want to believe that as the Lord helps you, you'll be able to see that, yes, this is possible. I can actually do it. But remember, it will take time, will take research, will take, of course, above all, listening from the Lord, and then being clear that you know what you're doing. Like I know trading in Forex, you need to be aware, really, to work with somebody who knows what they are doing for you to eventually be profitable. And then our colleague also told me about consultant coaching. I think there are so many people who would want to be coached in many things, right from money management to the home and managing the home, and the various aspects of business that we are working with. I mean, coaching, especially if you've had experience and years of doing a skill or something that you're involved in, you have worked for a number of years, you can actually begin to coach. Get certified as a coach, and you will find a lot of people who need your help in the same. So it could even be a career you're already doing, but the Lord might lead you to minister to others through the same. Where I will ask my daughter now to explain how she makes this coffee really fast, so that at least if you're looking for a way of making coffee, especially cold coffee, I mean, you will enjoy it. I never thought I would enjoy coffee cold, but if you would like to learn a new way of doing this, I will let her explain. And then we will pray, as is always our custom at the end of this video, so that the Lord will minister to you and I.
So this coffee recipe makes 2 cups, but it depends on the type of cup you're using. But if you're just making a cup, you can like half the recipe. So I just boil some water and put like 1.5 teaspoons of the normal coffee. Then I just strain it and let it cool for a while. You need your cups, some ice cubes, and also some vanilla essence or extract. And then also you will need sugar syrup, and you can just like search up like a recipe on how to make sugar syrup, but I usually just put for the 2 cups 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, and also to just give it like a more unique taste, I added half a tablespoon of jaggery, which is just brown sugar. After that, I just microwaved it for about like 30 seconds. It depends, and then it looked like that. Then I just stir it. Then obviously, as you saw, you'll just need your coffee and some milk. I also find it tastes better when I put more coffee than milk, but if you want more milk, then you can just put as you please. For the vanilla, I put like about 3 drops of vanilla because it's very strong, but sometimes for some reason it doesn't like taste very like strongly enough, so I put more. So I just say like put a few drops and keep tasting. For the sugar, I'll just use like about half for one and half for the other one, but if you have like a lot of syrup, then you can just put and keep tasting. After that, you can put the coffee in the fridge so that it's cold, or you can just put ice. Cake looks like
Thank you, Lord, that you will continue to work in me. You will continue to work in my viewer. I pray that you will minister to us, especially as you lead, as we trust you to provide, as we trust you to help us to be clear concerning what you want us to do, so that as you use what you're leading us to do to provide, you will be glorified. So you know the needs of each of us, you know where we are. Those who are watching me, please intervene and lead each of us, Father, into your will in this matter, even as we look to you to provide. So thank you that you will be with us in Jesus' name. Amen.